Natasha. Welcome to a fun creative sequence power flow. We have a flow that I'm going to add on to and then a fun mobility sequence at the end of class. Come into child's pose. We'll just settle on our mats, take a few deep breaths together, and we're going to get right into the flow. Bring your knees a bit wide and then melt your forehead towards the mat. Find some ease in the body here, releasing any tension in the forehead, the eyebrows, the jaw, and the tongue. Allow your hips and your spine to settle here. Just acknowledging your body as it is in this moment. Setting an intention or just taking a moment of gratitude for making it onto your mat and doing something healthy for your body, for your mind today. Maybe some subtle wiggling in the hips, the shoulders, shimmy a little bit. Some subtle cat-cows. And then back into a moment of stillness as we change our focus and intention to the breath. Let's take a deep inhalation here, filling up the back and sides of the ribs. And a big exhale through the mouth. Sigh. Make it audible the first couple times. Inhale deeply. And exhale, completely empty out the lungs. And then possibly changing that breath to a Ujjayi Pranayama breath done through the nose. Feeling that vibration on the back of the throat. And listening to that sound, again, that it makes a little bit of an audible sound like the ocean. There's a lot of sounds going on here. Hopefully it's not too distracting, and always feel free to play music in the background if you like. So continue to just elongate the breaths, focus on that intentional inhale and intentional exhale, imagining releasing any tension, stress, judgment, expectations on our practice, on ourselves today. Let that go. Listening to our bodies in all the moments, whether we are modifying a pose or amplifying or taking a break or water, whatever it is. Let's go ahead and pop up onto all fours, on the hands and knees, tabletop position. Spread your fingers, anchor into each fingertip, and draw your knuckles up and back a little bit. We'll rock forward and back. Forward, jetting the shoulders over the fingers and then sitting those hips back where they came from in child's pose. You can do this with a circle a couple times, one way and the other. Two more. This time we'll round the spine forward like a cat back and then melt the hips down, unfurl, bend the elbows, touch that pubic bone down and press back up. Again, round forward, release the hips, bend the elbows, press into those fingertips, squeeze the elbows and shoulder blades back, round back to neutral. One more time, round forward, let the hips melt down, bend the elbows as much as you need to, pry the heart open, inhale, and exhale, back onto tabletop. Let's take a quick spinal balance. Right foot out, left arm forward, circle out the wrist and ankle. Blink the fingers, press that right shoulder down. And we'll take a little hamstring stretch. If you can, grab the outside top of the foot, hug the heel in as you lift the knee, and then possibly kick into it. It's early, so just be gentle on the body here. Push the shoulder down, the heart and gaze forward. Release. And switch. Left leg, right arm, press that left shoulder down, scoop in through the belly, circle the wrists, make it fist, circle the ankle, and then blinks. Open, close, reset that shoulder down, squeeze into the core, and hug the heel to butt. Wrap around the outside top of the foot, hug heel in as you feel that quad hip flexor, and then kick into it. Stretching through the shoulder, the chest, and through the front body. And soft release. Tuck those toes under, press into downward facing dog. Start to pedal here. High heel and low heel.
And then swivel your hips side to side. Your heels and toes and ankles are always going to move organically with your body. Do what feels good and works for you. Pedal. We'll take a couple spinal waves again. Widen your stance just a touch, chest towards toes, then cat back, roll forward, like arch back again. Round forward, nice and gentle and slow, and then arch back. This time roll forward, swing hips through to that up dog on toes. Tuck the chin, round the shoulders, then the spine, and press back to down dog. One more time like that, full range. Rolling into up dog on toes, push shoulders down, heart forward, tuck chin, push shoulders down, round back, down dog. Come onto the knees, and then keeping your toes tucked under, take a little seat back here. And a couple calming breaths, and maybe you take some time while your feet are getting a really intense stretch to, again, just get into the wrists a little bit. Circling both ways, blinking out those fingers. Okay, let's take a couple shoulder rolls, lubricating the shoulder joint, circling backwards, maybe full arms back, and then forward. Good. Bring those fingertips down, rock into the heels. And then try to settle into that back of the ankle, the Achilles tendon. Try to release through the hips. And again, just moving organically. Any positions, rocking, high heel, low heel, whatever feels good for you. So you can get a little bit into the hips here. So we're gonna widen our feet, internally rotate one knee and hip, and then pry it apart. Tap and pry. You could roll onto the knife edge of the foot as you do that. So we get that hip joint moving internally and externally like we did on the shoulders. All right, walk yourself back to downward facing dog. Lift those hips and breathe. Connect to the breath. Feel your fingertips pressing down, your shoulders pressing down, chest towards toes, tailbone towards sky. Knees can be bent, heels don't have to land. We're gonna gaze forward. Bend both elbows. Can you drop into dolphin? Bend the knees if your hamstrings feel tight. Otherwise, go ahead and straighten them out. We're going to charge forward to knees, chest, chin. Lift the elbows. Pull the shoulders forward. Knees, chest, chin. Press back, child's pose. Then snaking our way to cobra. Elbows hover, chest slithers, belly lands. Cobra, you can keep that body down, or the thighs down, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. Let's try that one more time. That's going to be our half series vinyasa throughout our practice today. So this is modified. We're going to take it into dolphin, gaze forward, lower. So knees, chest, chin to start, and then later on you can change it to chaturanga. Knees, chest, chin, press back, slide through, cobra, or possibly up dog. You can do that on the toes or on the top of the feet. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Let's take our feet a little closer to the midline and sweep that right foot high. Down dog split. Can you pull those toes up? Elevate the left toes. Heel up high as you look at those toes, and then lower a little bit deeper into the heel if you can. Knee tucking into the nose. Press yourself forward into plank. Give it a little tap here and send it back. This time knee comes down, toes land, both knees land. We're gonna pop up to fingertips and then try to balance here. Both knees are on the mat. Both toes are tucked under. Square out the shoulders and hips. Can you bind the hands behind the back for a chest expansion? Squeeze those shoulder blades, puff up through the chest, maybe dip it back. You might be able to touch your fists to your right heel. No force, still early. See if that's there. Press the hips forward and the heart up. You can drop your head back or keep it neutral. Then press your hands down. I'm going to spin my hips to the left, reach it, right toes stay right where they are as the knee pops up. horizon stretch. You might pull this right foot a little closer or higher up to your hip. Good. Lift the hips, come back, plank, turning the other way to side plank. Go ahead and twist that right knee up towards the sky as you push the shoulder down. Take a deep breath in. Bend both knees, grab the bottom of the foot, place it down for 90-90 lunge. Both palms forward. Elevate the back knee as you imagine pulling a bow and arrow into a twist. Right arm back. Straighten both knees, revolve, reach into a revolved triangle on straight legs. Reaching that left arm back by the ear. Half moon, bend into the front knee, switch arms, and balance. Trying to hover and stack ribs, shoulders, and hips. Flex out those back toes, engage the core, going back to side plank, left hand and foot down, right arm and leg up. Side plank, any variation, step on both feet to the back of your mat for crab reach or a single arm reverse table. That is the first part of the sequence. We'll repeat that on the other side. Take a breath. Walk your left foot long and come back through downward facing dog. Dolphin, look forward, bend the elbows. Knees, chest, chin, charge the heart and gaze forward. Send your hips back, child's pose, snake to cobra, or upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Walk those feet a little closer to the midline. Push the shoulders forward, up by the ears, and then left leg up. Play with trying to send those toes to sky and then elevate the right heel, lower the heel. Now high tuck and plank, knee to nose, or tap your chin. Send it back. Second time, we tuck. Take the toes in between and land both knees, lower the hips. Hop up onto fingertips, and then this kneeling balance. Press into both set of toes. Reach your hands behind the back. Interlace your fingers. Can you squeeze and possibly reach for that left heel here? You can press your knuckles into the heel. Possibly take the head back if you feel safe there and it feels good. Then tuck the chin. Bring your hands down. So the left foot stays where it is. Horizon, knee comes up. Good. You might wiggle that left foot a little higher up towards the hip. Push the shoulder down. Take a breath. And we're going side plank the other direction with a twist. Bring your left hand down. Your right hand pulls the outside of the knee up as you twist the knee towards the sky. Really push down through that left shoulder. It's pretty challenging. Grab the foot, bend both knees, place it down 90-90. Palms forward. Elevate the back knee as you twist the left arm back like you're pulling a bow and arrow or a string behind you. Straighten the legs. Grab that left hand to maybe the hamstring or around the thigh and start to charge the energy upward as you reach the right arm back, possibly behind the ear or by the ear. Whew, nice deep breathing. If you're falling, just try and come back in. Half moon. Left hand swings forward, the hips open, and we charge up to balance. You can bring your fingertips down or try to hover, flexing out the toes, stacking shoulders, hips, good, ribs. Right hand and foot come down. Side plank, any variation. You can lift your knee, star, or stack. Then walk onto both feet facing the back of the mat, hips up, crab reach. You can look down or back. Big breath in and out as you charge the heart and hips up. Engage the glutes and hamstrings. Good. Lower the hips. Walk the right foot out. Come back. Downward facing dog. Nice deep breath. We're going to add on to the flow, but first let's go ahead and take a big jump to the top of your mat. Start to bounce, hips back and up, and then hips up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Give your head a nice shake. Bend and straighten the knees a bit. Listening to your body. And we'll start to ragdoll our way up. Stacking the vertebrae. One at a time, then the shoulders and the head lift. You can give yourself a nice little shake out at the top. Any adjustments that you want to do. Maybe wrists, shake, shoulders, little twists. And then coming into Tadasana, mountain pose, finding stillness. Spread the feet, anchor down into all 10 toes. Pull the palms forward, heart up. Good, shoulders back and down. Lengthen the tailbone, firm the legs, firm the core, toning there. Deep breath in, big exhale. Release and relax the muscles in the face, or maybe a little smile. Let's move. Inhale, arms up, gentle back bend. Exhale, halfway fold, dip into those toes. Utkatasana, chair or fierce pose, hips back. You can find your depth. You might come into low yogi squat or just a nice neutral chair with the hips back by behind the knees, and then fold forward, possibly trying to lift the heels up in balance. Utkatasana, chair, half fold balance on toes, sink into heels, chair. This time dip over and all the way into your fold, Uttanasana. Again, any little shakes and wiggles, nodding yes and no. Back into the flow, bend the knees, plant the hands down, jump back, plank, downward facing dog. All right, option 2, make the knees, chest, chin a chaturanga to level up. Gaze forward, drop the elbows, dolphin. Knees, chest, chin, or shoot forward, chaturanga. Press back onto the knees, snake to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right toes to sky. Knee to nose, high tuck. Send it back. This time, knee to chest. Bring the toes down in the middle of the mat. Both knees land. Balance. As you lift the heart, reach the hands behind the back. Interlace those fingers. Try to find that heel if possible. And gentle back bend. Hands down, left hand down. Swivel your left side of your hip down. Rise and stretch. You can walk the right foot up a little higher. Taking it into side plank the other way. Lift your hips, switch hands, grab the outside of the thigh and rotate. Twisting side plank. Grab the foot. Place it down. As you lower the back knee, you find that 90-90 lunge. Palms up. Lift your lunge as you twist. Pull the energy, the arms apart. Straighten and exalt. Lifting up through the heart, feeling that left quad and hip. Stretch it back. Half moon, changing hands and direction. Opening up that hip. Fingertips can land. You can keep the knee bent if you need to, or maybe try to float. Back through side plank, left hand down. Lift up. So this can be your crab reach, or maybe it turns into a wild thing. 2 options there. We're gonna add on, bringing the right foot forward. You can grab that foot and place it down. Back knee lands. This left hand is gonna swing back to the heel for a half lunge, half camel variation.
You can drop that head back, push the hips and heart up, maybe hand to heart for a breath. Tuck the chin, come on up. Warrior 2, open up the feet a bit, lift the back knee and draw the pinky toe and the foot down. If you feel like you are too much in a line, you can kind of widen your stance for more stability and bend into front knee. Front knee opens up towards the right, tailbone lengthens, arms pull in opposition. Big breath in. We'll take Warrior 2 to Trikonasana triangle. Straighten the knees, push the hips back as you reach forward and cartwheel down. You can press your hand into your shin, fingertips to floor, hand on foot, lots of variations and options. We're trying to equally pull the energy apart in the top and bottom arm, scooping through the abdominals. Bend into the front knee, shifting into side angle. Left arm's gonna come up and frame the ear now. Our Skandasana to the back of the mat is gonna add a twist. So you'll lift, pull the toes open a little bit, bend into the left knee, lunging to the back of your mat and reaching your right arm across, maybe off the mat, adding a twist here. Twisting Skandasana, wide leg fold in the middle. Take a couple breaths to settle here. Toes can be forward or slightly pigeon-toed. Head can be heavy, and you can play around with reaching fingertips forward, walking fingertips back. Maybe a quick inversion. Come on up on the fingertips. We're gonna walk our hands forward and pivot onto the back knee. So you're again in that 90-90 lunge, and we're gonna lift. So here, if you have sensitive knees, you might wanna pad up the knee. We're gonna try to pull above the kneecap onto the fleshier part of the knee above, and then see if you can hamstring curl and grab around the outside top of the foot with both hands if possible. We'll hug the heel in, and then we'll pull the foot away, feeling that opening in the chest and shoulders, hip flexor and quad. Good, and all right, so here's the hard part. We're gonna try to get up without putting our foot down. So we gotta shift onto the right foot, pull the weight of your upper body forward, drag your knee in, and see if you can stand. All right, practice that. If it didn't happen for you, just go ahead and step into standing. You can take your right hand outside your left thigh and left arm back if you're modifying the standing twist, or take your right fingers, peace fingers, to your left toe, big toe, creating a yogi toe lock. And we'll work on standing and twisting. Big breath in and out. We're gonna go down the same way we came up. Let that foot go back. Can you bend into the front knee? Slowly pull the shoulders forward so you can drop onto the knee very lightly. Bring your hands down, step back, find plank. We're gonna take a forearm side plank, lower to the left forearm, open up that right arm, forearm side plank, walk onto the right toes, and then start to really push the hips and heart forward like you're doing a wild thing on the forearm. Come on, back onto the hands, downward facing dog. Paddle, breathe, sway. If you need a moment in child's pose or need to hit pause, please do. Otherwise, second side. Look forward, push up to dolphin, lower those elbows with control. Charge the heart and gaze forward, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Press back into child's pose, slither through up dog, downward facing dog.
Walk your feet a little closer together as you lift the left leg high. One knee to nose, shift. Send it back. Tuck it in. Step the foot in between the hands and feet. Lower both knees and balance your way up to kneeling. Reach your hands behind the back. Interlace those fingers. Can you start to reach for the left heel? Maybe sending the head back. Hips forward, heart up. Bring your hands down, right hand down. Horizon the left hand. Keep your toes where they are. Just lift your knee and drop your head. Push the shoulder down. Take a breath. Other way, side plank with a twist. Lift the hips, left hand down. Spin to the other edge of the foot. And start to pull the knee upward from the outer thigh. Grab the bottom of the foot. Bring yourself into 90-90. Palms forward, shoulders over hips. Hover and twist. Get nice and low above, just hovering above the mat. Then straighten and recline it, reverse it. Good. Straighten those legs. Keep the core on for balance, a little bit of shaking maybe. Pull that arm back, heart up. Half moon to the other side. Opening up your hips into stack. Flex out the toes. Can we stack the shoulders and ribs? Maybe hover a moment. Right hand and foot down. Side plank variation to reverse table crab, or maybe it looks more like a wild thing. Come on back. Step into the lunge. This right hand swings to the right heel, taking a half lunge, half camel variation. Ooh, gentle back bend. You could drop the head or keep it neutral. Come on up. And let's lift our back knee to warrior two. So if you need more space, widen your stance a bit, adjust if you need to. Bend into that front knee, pull it out towards that left side. As you pull the arms in opposition, can you bend a little deeper? Straighten, shift, reach forward, push hips back, cartwheel into your Trikonasana. Try not to just collapse into the bottom hand. Energy pulling both directions. Lengthen tailbone, peeling right hip above the left. Big breath in and out, and then we'll bend into that front knee. Pull the right arm over the ear. Skandasana. Lunging to the right foot back of your mat and add a twist there, reaching your left hand as far away off the mat as you can. One breath here. And we'll slide into that wide leg forward fold. Adjust your legs as needed. And any shapes you want to make, maybe finding an inversion. If you are doing a headstand, really push those elbows down into your mat, under the shoulders. I barely have weight down on my head. And then be sure to lengthen the head, let it hang if you did go upside down. Rock, sway, reach through, reach forward, side to side. Come up halfway onto the fingertips, walk your body, pivot back down into lunge. When you have that 90-90 lunge, lift the body. And here's where you're going to want to get onto the fleshy part of your knee. Kind of pull the kneecap behind you and get onto the top of the knee. See if you can reach a wrap around your hands around the outside top of the foot. You can start to hug your heel in. So really be mindful of the knees. If you have a thin mat, this is not going to feel good. I would pad up. Then kick back. Try to open up the chest, the shoulders, sink into the lunge a little bit. Now to stand, you want to work on the counterbalance. So readjust, don't put that foot down. The more you have the weight of your shoulders forward, the easier it's going to be to lift. So play around with that lift. It's like a shrimp squat there. You can take your left hand to the outside of the right foot, right hand back, twist, staying there, or yogi peace lock on the right big toes with your left fingers. Work on straightening and rotating into that twist. Release. Come down the same way you went up. Shoulders are going to reach forward. Hamstrings on. Knee lands softly. And hands down. Step back into plank. Lower onto right forearm. Side plank on forearm. Walk your left toes back. And then can you lift your heart and your hips? You can reach up or back. Think wild thing on forearms. One big breath. And we'll come out of that, stepping into plank. One more vinyasa. Down dog, dolphin. Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Maybe loaded beast. Don't let the knees land. Then slither. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Woo. All right, making your way to the top of the mat. Start to bend the knees. Maybe try a tuck handstand to get forward. Pulling the knees into the chest. You could try a few top jumps. Maybe you get a moment at the top and release. Shake out those wrists, blink the fingers, shake out the head, and ragdoll up. All right, I promised you a fun mobility sequence. We're gonna come to the middle of the mat. Making your way down into Trikonasana, butterfly legs. So possibly try to kind of roll onto the knife edges of the feet. Good. We'll pull the arms out, widen the knees, and see if you can come all the way down on the butt with control. Obviously use your hands if you need to. Widen your knees. You can use your elbows to pry your knees down, or a little harder, we're gonna try to touch our elbows to the ground. So some of you might be able to do that easily. Some, it might look more like a bounce like mine. Nice. Now, step on the right foot, pistol squat. Again, use your hands if you need to. If not, maybe rock your shoulders forward. Step on the right foot. Here's your pistol. And if you can't do some of these, just try. The effort will be the work and you'll improve with practice. So we come up to pistol. Moving into pigeon, we're gonna try to do this without hands. Swing your left foot around, shift onto the left knee, and then walk the right toes back. So obviously just use your hands if you need to, but maybe you were able to make that happen without hands. Elbows can tap. Let's take this left shoulder down as you slide the hand all the way over for a twisting pigeon, and then scoop back up. Okay, Malasana is the last shape. So we're gonna sweep this right leg around, step on the right foot. Remember, swing your shoulders forward to lighten your load on your booty, and then open into Malasana. Elbows pry those knees apart. All right, so take a couple breaths in Malasana. You can work some more hip mobility here, like we did in the beginning, or maybe a couple handstand frog jumps. Spread your fingers, press into each fingertip, and see if you can maybe clap the toes at the top a few times. Push the shoulders down. Can you get those hips up and those toes or feet to clap? If you got a moment, awesome. If not, no big deal. Let's come all the way up to standing, and we'll finish up with the other side of that. Coming back to the knife edges of the feet. You could bring your feet kind of to touch, or give yourself a little more space with a couple inches in between. See if you can lower down. Remember, bringing the shoulders forward makes your backside lighter. Widen your knees. Either pry the knees apart with your elbows, or see if you can Bring those elbows to the ground. Now, stepping on your left foot, pistol, right foot shoots forward. This right foot is going to try to wrap across, and then we're changing our weight to the right knee and foot and walking the left foot back. Did you get there? If not, use your hands, and then get into your pigeon. We can try to pull the elbows down and lift, and then slide the right arm across. Left arm up, maybe the ear and headland, twist, and back. Left foot spins around. Step on that left foot, pull the shoulders forward, step on the right foot, Malasana. Beautiful job. Let's end it with a crow pose. Optional, of course. Lift your hips up nice and high as you plant the hands down. Spread the fingers. Shift your energy forward as you pull the knees onto the upper arm, possibly just above the elbows or maybe way up into those armpits. Round the back like you're doing cat. Push down through the shoulders. Hug your heels in. Take a couple breaths. If you're working on a jump back, you're going to pop the hips up and shoot the legs back. Heart and gaze forward. Upward dog and child's pose. Take some time to decompress. I'm going to leave you in child's pose today. So I want you to take some nice calming breaths. You can continue to play and work since everything's really fired up, or please take some time to end in Shavasana, maybe legs up a wall, or setting yourself up in a really nice restorative pose for a few minutes of meditation. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun with that creative sequence. Let me know how it went, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.